Welcome to another episode of the More People podcast. I'll be your host, Richard Hanwell, Managing Director for More People. And today our guest is our very own CEO, Andrew Fitzmaurice. Welcome, Andy.
Hello.
I'm keen, Andy, for everyone to understand about your background and your journey into the world of recruitment, if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, I'll try and do it quickly. So chemistry degree, and the most natural thing to do with that is to go straight into the world of recruitment, which is kind of true. So I got a job straight out of uni as a junior account manager in the electrical wholesale sector, and quite quickly worked out that I wanted to be in London, where all my friends who had sensible career decisions, they went down there. So I followed them down there, and I figured with a year's experience and some account management sales background, the recruitment would suit me quite well, because it seemed to be that in my former role, you did your job, got paid, go home. Whereas in the world of recruitment, you get out what you put in. Yeah. So I thought I'll back myself to get a lot more out for what I'm prepared to put in, and worked in the city for 3 or 4 years in recruitment for firm A, and then worked firm B for another 2 or 3 years, and then moved up here when marriage and babies and sensible country living became a thing. Found More People, sold myself into More People. They said, no, we don't want to hire you.
Same thing happened to me.
Yeah. We like people from the industry was the gist of the comment. But then they quite quickly came to their senses and realised that my proposition of having the best of both worlds was a good idea. So 14 years ago, almost to the day, I joined the business and helped put in place lots of what I've said said for a long time was the scalability piece. So the market knowledge was always great, the brand was always great, but was the scalability there to build the business beyond the sum of its parts at the time.
How many people were here at the time?
I want to say 6 or 7.
And now 35.
And now 35. So it's been a slog, and changing the culture, evolving the thinking, getting a lot of the foundations in place, so we knew that they'd be right and that they'd be future proofed. Took a long time, but I think worth the investment in all of those things.
Definitely.
Where we are today is more than fit for purpose. I think if we doubled the size of the business, which is ultimately one of our medium-term goals, I don't think we'd have to change a lot.
No, the infrastructure's there. It's just ironically getting more people.
Yeah, more people for more people. The irony's not lost on me. And as recruiters in candidate short markets, our clients come to us to help with those problems, and we face the exact same problems ourselves, and it's tough. We've continued to raise the bar on what good looks like for our recruiters. Yep. And our expectations are high. We don't want to make poor choices and bad hires. We do practice what we preach and what we tell our clients, what we expect from our recruiters to give us a service to our clients. We don't want to be churning staff. Recruitment's not always got the best reputation in terms of turnover of people. We're a lot better than average, I think, because we take the time to invest in getting it right, because the cost of getting it wrong is expensive, it's annoying, it takes a lot of our time.
Reputation,
yeah. Massively. I think we're in a really good place now, and reaping a lot of the benefits for the hard work that's gone before, but the job's not done. The challenges are still out there in front of us.
Very much so, very much so. You spoke there a little bit about candidate shortage, and it is a war for talent. It really is out there. It's difficult to attract the passive audience, to get the right calibre of the proactive candidates. How important and what advice would you give for kind of employer branding around enticing the right talent through the doors?
Any prospective new employee, you're trying to one-upmanship the competition all the time. And we're quite good, I think, at being on top of what we know to be out there, what we can do, most things within our power that we think there's a benefit to our workforce, we can implement and roll out. You have to recognise that candidates have got a choice. So why are they going to choose your business above an other?
It's a huge emotional decision.
Yeah, emotion's a great word. I think people aren't always making the decisions with their head. They're making them often with their heart. We talk a lot about the fact you can only make a first impression once. Yeah. So make sure it's a good one. You're always visible. I think about that story our parents would have told us all when we were kids, or the teachers would have told us when we were kids. When you're wearing the school uniform, you're representing the school even when you're not at school. Yeah. It's the same thing. And I think everything that we do and touch and everybody we interact with, inside and outside of work, you're wearing your personal values, you're wearing the company values, you're representing the brand. So what do you want that to mean? What do you want people to think, feel, and do based on what you've created? Sometimes that's intangible. Sometimes people will try and articulate it by pasting values all over walls, and whether they live and breathe them or not remains to be seen. Sometimes they look better than they actually are embedded.
Reality,
because the true test of a culture is not what we say it is, or what we say our brand is, it's what it's perceived to be. So I think we do a really good job of trying to be professional, cliche, but the work hard, play hard, which is in most recruitment companies, to be fair, but it has to be a truism for what we do. So my logic is, look, you've got to go to work somewhere. So why not give it your all? Why not leave it all on the pitch? Why not make it as good as it possibly can be? And then you can enjoy all your time away from work. And we spend a lot of time at work with our colleagues. We spend a lot of time in the office. We spend an inordinate amount of time thinking about work. But I also want to spend a lot of time playing golf and with my kids. In that order.
In that order.
Probably. And my wife probably is somewhere in there as well. But the work to live to work thing, it's tough, right? And you've got to strike a balance. But back to the original question of employer brand, do people understand what yours is as a business, or ours is as a business? In terms of your marketing collateral, your social media feeds or lack thereof, the website, how people hold themselves when they're outside the office, networking at the netball or the rugby match or whatever with other people that you're bound to interact with who work for prospective clients. There should be a sense of pride, hopefully, that people want to work for whoever it is. And, we would joke if we cut people open, they're going to bleed purple. That's the sort of ultimate goal. It's not always the reality, because work doesn't mean the same thing to everybody all of the time. We're probably disproportionately incentivized and driven at the moment for what we want out of this place. But we also believe that everyone else can have the same benefits and can come on the same journey.
Definitely.
You've got to get them at the right stage of their life and their career journey to buy into that. And there is a place for people who are just steady, do a great job, go home. That's fine.
You have to have a mix.
You've got to have a mix. But I think being cognizant of what your brand is meant to say. If you can't quite articulate it, or it's not self-evident by how people are holding themselves, then that's probably a topic, therefore, for conversation to figure it out.
When you've managed to get a candidate to come for interview, that candidate journey, it started with us, to be frank, by the time we've managed to get them an interview with said employer. But it's also then very much a case of waiting in the waiting room, okay? Having that first handshake, having that interview process, that's all a part of the candidate journey. It's all a part of the employer branding, to be perfectly frank. And that think, feel and do. How does that candidate feel? What tips, advice have you got for candidates standing out, whether it be CV, prep, whatever that may be? What advice would you give?
I think proactivity it covers a lot of ground, and I'll explain more what I mean, but proactivity to me is where a candidate can really start to stand out. So are they going above and beyond? Are they thinking one step ahead about what they could do to improve a process? So have they done their research? Are they asking around? Are they being proactive and courteous with follow-up emails, LinkedIn connections? That proactivity that manifests in everyday life. We're sat in here right now. If a client comes on site right now, I know they're going to be looked after by whoever they interact with.
Definitely.
They'll walk from A to B. They'll be given coffee, water, and courtesy, and smiles and handshakes and hellos, and to check that everyone's fine and happy. And I know that's happening because we've hired people against those values. Social media channels, you've got your LinkedIn, and you've got your Instagrams and TikToks and so on and so forth. Are you putting forward the persona that you want people to think about you for? It's got to be consistent in terms of language and professionalism and attention to detail. If those are the things that you hold dear, which obviously I do, you've got to be exacting, because then that becomes the trait for which you're known. Now, whether you're getting the engagement that you know about and the likes and the comments and stuff, who cares? Who knows? But I know more people are seeing it than are engaging with it, because people will talk to me about them when we run dinners and things, and they'll mention something that I know they didn't engage with, but they've seen it. So how many other things that we don't know about,
Yeah, the good, the bad, and the indifferent.
is that happening? So you better be on your A game all the time to not fall foul of those scenarios.
Can you discuss the importance of ongoing learning and development for recruiters now? Because we've been in the game a long time. We've seen no end of different changes. We've had to upskill ourselves, put ourselves outside comfort zones, etc. But can you discuss the importance of that ongoing L&D?
For me, the world has got so much more user-friendly in terms of content, online support, other platforms, networking opportunities. It's all so much more readily available than it was 20 years ago. So why not make the most of it, for one?
Yeah.
For two, like I said before, you've got to be here working for the next, however many years you've got to work for. Why wouldn't you want to continue to raising the bar and making your life easier? Learning makes everything more interesting, and the goal is to be a better version of yourself tomorrow than you were yesterday. And you just keep moving the bar, which I accept is kind of relentless and can be annoying in some regards, because you think, well, when can I just chill and calm down? And the answer is, well, never. You just should want to keep moving.
It get boring that way as well.
It gets boring. Why not be 1% better? We've just done some training around being 1% better and the aggregation of marginal gains and the nature of habit stacking to just add that 1% every day, which over 365 days makes a massive difference. 1% worse every day just erodes down to basically zero. But when the upside, particularly in our industry, in terms of career progression, earning potential, when the upside is so high, if all it takes is 1%, why wouldn't you want to do that? Because it provides for all the other things that you want to do in your career, in your role, in your personal life, with the money you earn to go and spend on the stuff you want to be doing.
Yeah, and notoriously, when work life is going well, it balances out pressures and things outside of work as well.
Yeah, it's the same.
Go hand in hand.
It's the same thing as a healthy body, healthy mind. If you've got a healthy bank balance, that's also going to help a lot of the other stuff outside of work. And if you're fulfilled in the role emotionally as well, you go home and sleep at night quite well.
Our non-exec director quoted something to us a while ago, and you don't know what you don't know. And I'll be honest, I originally took that offensively. And then I calmed down and worked out what he meant. But it is, if I knew back then what I knew now, that would have benefited me. And I'm constantly thinking about what else do we not know. One question we're asking all of our guests is, what one piece of advice would you give your 24-year-old self?
So I don't think at 24 I would have thought that the path to finding the answer to something must be more worthy if you figure it out yourself and you bootstrap yourself to wherever it is. Now, if I've got a problem with anything, law, accounting, non-execs, work, HR, finance, whatever, I can ring someone and ask for help and they'll direct me straight to the person I need to know. And that's the benefit of the power of network. And it's the difference with an attitude of someone who's not as stubborn and is more willing to go, oh, the easiest way to figure this out is to go and ask somebody. Whereas I definitely made life more difficult for myself at 24 than it needed to be.
I think the ability to ask for help is a strength, not a weakness.
100%.
And in younger years, it can often be seen as a weakness.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.